Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for our LA Strong Return and Rebuild webinar series. We're here at it again on a Tuesday evening at 5 p.m., ready to share some key updates regarding the Palisades rebuild. As usual, we do have a variety of ways to participate and interpretation options. We have American Sign Language available for all those who may request it, and closed captioning as well. In order to access the American Sign Language, you are welcome to click the More button at the bottom of your screen and or the interpretation globe at the bottom of your screen, and then click on American Sign Language. To access closed captioning, there is a link in the chat, and once you click that link, you should be able to access closed captioning after a brief delay. Also, we want to remind people that we do record these webinars and make them available for all of you to watch at your leisure. They should be up within the next 24 hours or less. Please feel free to watch all webinars, including tonight's and previous webinars for the Palisades community at the Mayor's YouTube. You can either use the QR code on your phone that you see on your screen, or go to youtube.com/@mayorofla/videos. All right, tonight we will hear first and foremost from Mayor Karen Bass about some executive actions recent. Then we'll hear from Councilmember Tracy Park. And then we'll hear from some of our experts, the Army Corps of Engineers, for a debris removal update and some exciting updates around our Palisades Recreation Center and our library. With that, we can go ahead and pull down the slides, and we'll invite Mayor Karen Bass to the floor.
Well, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. And as Jenny said, this will be our last one, our final webinar. However, if the need arises and there is an issue or there is a decision maker that you want to hear from, we will have the webinar. All we need is a good 24 hours notice. So please reach out to us if there is something that you would like for us to cover. And I imagine that everybody is a little shook about the controlled burn that the ATF is having in the Palisades. I just want to assure you that it is under control. The purpose of doing it, this is a part of their investigative process as to discover the reason that the fire started in the Palisades. But I can also imagine that it must be a terrible trigger for everyone to see flames in the Palisades. And I just hope that it is not too difficult for you to go through this process. I know that it won't last long. I know that it is under control. And we are hoping, of course, that we can get to the bottom of what actually happened there. How did the fire start? Why did the fire start? Where did the fire start? That is what ATF is doing right now. I wanted you to know about executive actions and fees. If you were aware, last week, I gave my State of the City speech, which included some very specific actions for the Palisades. Most notably is waiving fees. Just understand the process that your councilwoman put in a motion to study what the fees are, what the impact would be, and actually simultaneously, we had been looking at that information as well. When I talked to Councilwoman Park, I told her that I wanted to put forward an executive order directing city departments to waive the fees and to remove the financial barrier to rebuilding. A lot of individuals told us about that, and I certainly agree 100% that it would be one thing if you were remodeling your home, but through no fault of your own, to lose your house and then to have to face fees definitely seemed like an injustice. And so we are moving to address that. I know the councilwoman will tell you in a minute about her efforts, because the baton is passed to the council, and I know that they will act swiftly. But in the meantime, I have directed city departments to suspend collection of all permit and plan check fees in the interim while the city council does its work, which is to develop an ordinance so that we can make this change permanent. There is an issue that we are not prepared to answer today, but we will. And that is, what about those individuals that have already paid their fees? Can there be action retroactively? So we're talking to the city attorney about that as well. Within the coming weeks, the city will be contacting any individual individual property where they have not responded with either opting in or opting out. You know that that deadline is upon us, and that we don't want to move to having to remove the debris. We obviously have to have the debris removed at some point to protect public health and to continue our rebuilding process. And I have heard from a number of neighbors who tell me that they're ready to begin rebuilding, or that their homes were not damaged, but yet next to them or across the street from them, their neighbors don't seem to have moved. And when is that going to be taken care of? So I want you to know that we are moving on that, and we will be issuing information about that, how the city will address the non-responsive parties. I will tell you that in some of the cases, the properties were apparently in trust. And so that is a very difficult situation, is contacting the heirs and working that process through. In terms of traffic, to alleviate congestion on Sunset Boulevard, we opened the lane that was designated for recovery operation vehicles, and we directed the Department of Transportation to explore further options while we plan to reopen PCH. You should also know that there will be traffic consultants coming on board who have experience in construction and major efforts like this to help us get a handle on the traffic. I know that this has been an ongoing burden for people, of course, who are survivors from the wildfire, but burdens for everybody in the neighborhood. So I want you to know that we are on top of that, and we will stay in communication with you. And by the way, whether we continue to do the webinars or not, we will still stay in communication with you. You can always forward your questions to us. We will answer you in writing. We will continue that. And as I started, if there is a need, if there is a problem that the community is facing, if there is a decision maker that you want to hear from, all you need to do is notify us. We will do a webinar. Give us 24 hours to pull it together, but we are happy to do a webinar anytime the community of Palisades needs us to do one. We will be ready to do that. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you along the way. A week or so ago, I was at the fair in West LA for residents from the Palisades, and I will tell you that was a very nice experience. I had an opportunity to talk to many, many people, and hopefully we were able to be helpful to those individuals that raised concerns. Thank you very much, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, Mayor Bass. We will continue on with the rest of our program. And of course, I know Councilmember Park has a very busy schedule. If she joins us at any point, we'll certainly invite her to share a few words as well. We wanted to repeat some of the highlights of some executive actions that Mayor Bass took very recently in the last week or so. First off, we have our first ever self-certification program. Oh, there she is. Hi, Councilmember Park. You are just on time. You're welcome to share a few words with all the Palisadians gathered here on the webinar tonight. Thank you for joining us and making time. You're up.
Thank you, Jenny. Sorry about that. I was on pins and needles. I was up in the Highlands. And as for all the progress we are making, we still do not have adequate Wi-Fi up in the hills in the Palisades. So I was racing down Palisades Drive to get back to where I could jump on and join you. So my apologies that I'm tuning in a few minutes late. Really just wanted to acknowledge the continued progress, the pace at which the Army Corps is clearing lots at 50 a day. We are on track to have substantial progress made over the next couple of months. We know that PCH continues to be a challenge. Thank you for your continued patience, especially after we have these rain events that can lead to the mudslides that we're seeing. There is so much incredible work happening on the ground, and literally every day when I come up here, I see and find something new. Colonel Swenson told me Friday when I was up here that at the rate that the Army Corps is clearing debris out of here, if you took the 100 or the million tons that have already been moved out of the Palisades and you lined those up in Ford 150 pickup trucks, they would stretch from the Palisades to Seattle. And so just really want to thank them for the continued partnership there and the great work that we're doing. And as always, folks, continue to reach out to me and my team if there is anything here on the ground we can do to help you troubleshoot. Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you, council member. Appreciate everything that you do every day and appreciate the partnership. We'll go ahead and pull back up the slides. We were just recapping some of the recent executive actions. First, the self-certification executive action or order that Mayor Bass issued. This is a first ever plan check self-certification, which basically allows architects to self-certify that their plans meet California residential code. This will accelerate the time spent, accelerate the process, and reduce the time spent on the permitting. Councilmember, I see your hand. Would you like to hop in? Okay, I think Councilmember maybe have accidentally.
Nope, I wanted to turn my video off and take my hand down so I'm not causing a distraction. My apologies.
No problem. All is good. The next executive order that Mayor Bass issued was related to artificial intelligence. And this is using technology, AI technology in particular, to review project plans. Of course, this is to assist staff, not to replace staff, but to review project plans against building codes and zoning codes. Again, a innovative way that we're partnering with the governor, with the county, to use technology, save time for residents, and accelerate the rebuilding process. And last but certainly not least, Mayor Bass did issue an executive order specifically around fees. Many of you on these webinars in past weeks have expressed significant concern about the amount of fees and the fact that fees had not yet been waived. Now we are still working on that formal ordinance. I know Councilmember Park and her colleagues in the City Council are working very diligently on that. But in the moment, Mayor Bass said, okay, we're going to have to just pause these fees through executive action even before we have a City Council ordinance. And so while council is working on that ordinance, Mayor Bass has directed her departments to refrain from any collection of permit or plan check fees. So please proceed with your work and submitting your plans, submitting your requests for permits and so forth, and know that you will not have to be paying a fee to rebuild. This is again designed for financial relief for all of the Palisades residents who would like to rebuild, and we hope that this helps you do so with more resources in your pocketbook, as well as more overall, a feeling of you can move forward without being hung up on will these fees be waived or not, and when will that happen. Again, this is pending City Council's adoption of an ordinance to waive these fees permanently, but do know that all departments have been asked to not collect those fees at this point in time. With that recap completed, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to our new colonel with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Colonel Jeffrey Palisades.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for the warm welcome. I appreciate the mayor and Councilmember Park allowing me an opportunity to give you a quick update here on our progress. Our number one priority remains the safety and public health of the community. And to that end, we've made lots of progress since you received the last update from my predecessor, Colonel Saucer. You see some of our numbers on the screen there. We're up to 55 sites a day that we've been able to clear. That's our average over the last 5 days. And we even had a day where we cleared 66 sites, which was a huge accomplishment. We continue with 98 crews. We have even gotten over 100 a couple times, crews operating in the Palisades. And you see that as of today, we've removed 648,000 tons, almost 650,000 tons from the Palisades fire impact area. And to reference Councilmember Park's comment, we're even going at such a pace that we're 111 miles past Seattle now. So the Army Corps continues to make excellent pace in clearing our debris from the area. I will stay on after this to answer questions as they may arise. But again, thank you everyone for the warm welcome, and safety continues to be our #1 priority here at the Army Corps. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel, and welcome. We appreciate your leadership and continued attention to this mission and clearing debris in the Palisades. Next up, we have the General Manager for our Recreation and Parks Department here in the City of Los Angeles, Jimmy Kim.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Deputy Chief of Staff Delwood. Thank you, Mayor Bass and Councilmember Parks for giving me an opportunity to give an update on Pacific Palisades Park and Recreation Center. And welcome to all of the Palisadians as well as other city staff that's on the call listening in. Just to give you a very high-level update, we did meet with the Army Corps of Engineers last week on site to kind of determine the scope for the debris removal over at the Recreation Center. We are now waiting for FEMA approval. Once FEMA is approved, my understanding is that the removal of the debris will be fairly quick. So we're really excited about removing the debris from not only the quote unquote newer recreation center that was nearly destroyed, but also the tennis center as well as our maintenance yard. So those 3 locations will get debris removal hopefully in the very, very near future. As you all know or may have heard, we also had a generous donation from the folks over at Fire Aid, as well as our Parks Foundation, as well as Game Time, to rebuild the playground. And so that progress is on track. We're projecting a early July completion. So we're very happy that once the community opens back up, that playground will be accessible to the youth and families that decide to come to the park. Kind of along those same lines, you know, we're very interested in making sure that as we open up Palisades, that it's safe for our residents to visit our park. So we'll be conducting monthly tests around not only the bocce, tennis, and baseball, but also around the park as well, selected areas. We're also going to be doing soil testing at Temescal Canyon Park that Rec and Parks operates, as well as Rustic Canyon and Crestwood, just to make sure. And we're going to do this on a monthly basis, at least for the immediate future, just to make sure that it's still safe in terms of soil and for our residents to utilize the park grounds. We are also working with public health. We are in discussions with them about air quality monitoring. They're currently doing air quality monitoring right near the fire station, near the park. But we're looking to see if that is suffice to cover also the recreation area as well. So these are a lot of things that we're excited about and then moving forward as quickly as possible. So I'll move on to the next slide. Next slide, please. So as some of you may have heard, about 3 weeks ago, there was an announcement by the mayor, Steadfast LA, and LA Sports Strong for a public-private partnership announcement. We are very excited about this partnership and looking to rebuild the rec center and the park and reimagine it really for a world-class park up in the Palisades. Next slide, please. So just to give you an idea of kind of the timeline, and again, these timelines may shift. We're looking at a 23 to 53 month timeline, and that includes the first couple of months will be the agreement, the design, outreach, and permits. That could actually happen all at the same time. So it could take anywhere from 1 to 6 months, or even up to 14. It just depends on how quickly we could formulate the agreement, get a design together, and obviously we want to make sure that we're including the community in the design process. So we want to make sure we do appropriate level of outreach. It'll take anywhere from 1 to 6 months on a really fast pace. If it takes a little bit longer, it'll take about 14 months. There's a bid and award process, and again, that process could take again anywhere from 1 to 6 months. I'm not in the private sector, so it could happen one day, 1 week. But generally, we've been hearing within 1 to 6 months, we could do a bid and award once the design has been completed. And once that happens, they could quickly go into construction. We have a timeline of about 12 to 24 months. And again, it just depends on how quickly the awarded contractor can get the project completed. And then there's about a 3 to 6 month project closeout. And all these timelines may shift, but we're very happy that we're working with the mayor's office. We'll be working with the mayor's office, the council office, and the philanthropic providers to work out an agreement. And once that's done, we should have a better timeline, and we could come back to the community and let you guys know in terms of what the rebuild timeline looks like for the rec center. And that concludes my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy. We appreciate your work. And next up, we will pass the mic to Assistant General Manager Susan Broman at the City of Los Angeles Library.
Thanks so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to give you a quick update. So the site of the library has been cleared as of April 7th. Thank you so much to the Army Corps of Engineers and their contractor. They were very efficient and very careful. As you can see from the photos, it turned out that the outdoor courtyard and patio cover were largely undamaged by the fire, including the sculpture in the courtyard by Peter Shire. We were able to retrieve some plaques and some metal lettering from the building, as well as being able to preserve a little bit of the slate siding for a future project. However, there was a time capsule from 2003, which was retrieved, but unfortunately the contents were not salvageable. During the past 3 months, our outreach teams have been out in the community at temporary shelters and day camps, at the FEMA Disaster Recovery Center, providing printing services, checking out hotspots and laptops, signing up people for library cards, and our nearby libraries, Westwood, West Hollywood, West LA, Venice, and Mar Vista, have been serving the community along with staff from the Palisades branch at those buildings. I'd like to thank our Pacific Palisades Library Association for their ongoing support of the library. We are currently exploring options for temporary space while we work on the next steps of the rebuilding process. And I just want to assure you that gathering input from the community will be a crucial part of that process. We are working on the timeline for all of that right now. But I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. We appreciate it. And appreciate all the services being provided around the area, and looking forward for some of the temporary services on site in the Palisades to begin as soon as we are able. On the next slide, you'll see an update about the Disaster Recovery Center. I see a number of comments or questions in our chat regarding passes and access. So we do still have a PCH that is closed, and therefore checkpoints are still currently operational in the Palisades. You do need a pass, a resident pass or a contract pass to access Pacific Palisades. Starting this Thursday, May 1st, this Thursday, May 1st, we have new pass distribution hours. They are going to be only Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Of course, that's at UCLA Research Park, at Pico and Westwood. Of course, the Disaster Recovery Center will continue to operate with a smaller footprint also throughout Monday through Friday and on Saturdays, but the pass distribution will no longer be occurring on Saturdays, only Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Also, for other services, disaster recovery services, whether that be FEMA or Small Business Administration, Cal OES, you can continue to access services at the Disaster Recovery Center, both at UCLA Research Park as well as at Altadena Disaster Recovery Center at the address on your screen. But again, please share with your friends, your family, your neighbors, as well as your contractors, that passes will only be distributed at the Disaster Recovery Center on Pico and Westwood from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, starting this Thursday. There are additional sites in Malibu, very limited hours, but you're welcome to look up the Malibu information on the Malibu City Hall website. The Research Park, UCLA Research Park hours are there on the screen, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. As a reminder, we also have the one-stop shop for rebuilding. This is located at 1828 Sawtell Boulevard. You're able to apply for various permits, as well as get your questions answered about the rebuilding process. These hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Certainly, as we see foot traffic increasing, we may consider extending those hours. This is a centralized location for Palisades residents to access resources to rebuild your homes and businesses, again, under the accelerated processes that Mayor Bass has put into place under Emergency Executive Order number 1. There are at least 10, if not more. We are cramming in more every day. Departments, city departments there on site, ready to support your rebuilding efforts. Walk-ins are welcome, and free parking is available underground. With that, we're going to go ahead and open up question and answer. And we do have many questions already in the chat. One question is from David Rudd. David is asking, when will the residents with standing buildings be allowed to repopulate? Of course, with health and safety in mind. We want to encourage you, David, you're welcome to review all the health and safety information provided by the LA County Department of Public Works and through some of these webinars, but you're welcome to repopulate when you feel that it's safe. Certainly, there are various parameters, but I know that many individuals already with standing homes are living back in the Palisades. So you're welcome to do that now. We have another question. This one I'm going to direct to our general manager for the Department of Building and Safety in the city of Los Angeles. Osama, if you could come on screen. We have a participant named NC, or initials are NC. NC is asking, of the 29 permits approved, what is the number submitted? And what's the average throughput time for the processing of permits at this point? And then a third question, what does that prognosis look like, and what does that imply in terms of time necessary to fully rebuild? I'm not sure that question can be fully answered, but if you could give some general information about the number of permits approved and the average throughput time, that would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. And my video, I can't get it started. Is that okay?
That is okay. Please
All
continue.
right. So we have so far approved or issued permits for 29 applications. Those applications vary: new buildings, additions, repairs, grading, and so forth. We have 28 plans that have been approved, but waiting for the cleanup to happen. Once they get the cleanup, then we could issue a permit. And we have 113 that we reviewed, 132 that we reviewed, and waiting the response back from the applicant. Our turnaround is 6 days or less. And we have been at that pace since the start. And we hope to continue to be within 10 days, regardless of the volume. At some point, if the volume increases, maybe it'll go up. But so far, we've been able to keep our review time within 6 days. Did I answer the question?
You did. Thank
Okay.
you very much. So
All
we'll
right.
keep plugging along as folks submit, and we'll be able to hopefully maintain that very rapid turnaround time of 6 days. We really appreciate that. Osama, I appreciate the question as well. A couple more questions for you in relation to fees and permits. Joanna Spock is asking, will you be considering all types of fees in this ordinance for waiving fees, including permit and plan check fees, utility hookup fees, Quimby fees, and linkage fees? Osama, could you clarify that?
Absolutely. The order talks about all fees relating to reconstruction. So that includes plan check and permit fees. The only ones we cannot waive are the ones that are not city fees, but plan check permit fees are city fees, and therefore, well, right now with the order, they're paused until we have the city ordinance that waives them, then they'll be waived.
Great. And we do have a question from Joseph Tosiero. Joseph is asking, will permit fees be waived for multifamily buildings? If not, why not? So this is something, Joseph, that was not necessarily part of Mayor Bass's executive order, but it is certainly something that she would like the city departments to further explore and work on with the city council. So in regards to multifamily buildings, we do see the need to support the rebuild of our apartment buildings and other multifamily. And so there's certainly support there from the mayor. It's not the direct answer that you're looking for, as it was not already included in the executive order, but it is something that we'll continue to explore and push hard on. So we appreciate the question. Osama, do you have anything to add to that in terms of multifamily?
No, you answered it perfect.
Great. Okay, Peter Braveman is asking, our insurance coverage will pay for needed code upgrades. How do we get the city to identify those costs when plans are submitted? Osama, do you have any clarifications on that
Yeah,
piece?
we don't estimate cost of construction. That would we verify basically during our permitting process. We're just looking for code requirements, but cost is not one of them.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to some questions for the Army Corps. If we could invite Colonel Palazzini to come on to the screen. There are some specific questions, Colonel, one from Matt Plume. Matt is asking, what is the timeline for debris removal of some of the larger condo buildings along Sunset and also Woodsies in the Highlands? Any comment on any particular type of building, but particularly interest in these larger condo complexes?
Yeah, so right now, the Army Corps working under FEMA is focused primarily on personal property debris removal. That's the mission we've been given for FEMA. We did receive one multifamily home to clear, but so far no others. So commercial properties and multifamily homes are not part of the Army Corps' clearance right now, and that may change if FEMA decides otherwise, but we're focused mostly on personal property debris removal at the moment.
Yes, thank you, Colonel. The good news was that FEMA did approve the condos. And so separate from the multifamily, any update on some of the larger condo buildings that may be in the queue somewhere? You may not have an exact answer, but want to make sure the separating condos from other multifamily apartment complexes.
Yeah, we'll check with FEMA to see where in the queue they are. So far in the Palisades, we've just gotten the one set of condos that are almost cleared. I'm sure the others are in the queue, but we haven't received any specific orders to clear other condo locations right now.
Very good. Thank you very much for that clarification. There's another question in regards to anticipation of completing your mission. When do you anticipate completing your mission? Joanna is saying, I had heard that they possibly might be done with all opt-in properties by the end of May, which I think may be a little bit sooner than anticipated. But Colonel, can you shed some light on when you anticipate wrapping up either the bulk of the mission or all of it in its entirety?
Yeah, sure. So probably the end of May is connected to PCH work that we're doing. So just to back up a little bit, those 55 properties that we're clearing a day is great progress, but with over 2,000 remaining to be cleared, we do have several months worth of work ahead of us. The end of May is our target for clearing those parcels that are along PCH, both seaside and mountainside, so that we can meet the governor's requirement to open PCH by the end of May. So that's probably where that date came from. But we still do have quite a few properties that we're getting to in the opt-in category. And so we will be working into the summer to continue to clear. Hopefully we can maintain our pace of 50 or so. We do have some challenging locations to get to, and that pace will probably slow down. So I do anticipate continued work into the summer.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we're going to go back to some questions for our Department of Building and Safety. We have a question from Rhonda Geller Seibel. And Rhonda is saying, I am an architect in Pacific Palisades. Many of my projects are ready to start rebuilding. How does one get, quote, official clearance from LA County or someone else after a lot is cleared so that LADBS will be able to issue permits to rebuild? So I know, Osama, this question is actually a county question, but perhaps you can shed light on how does one go about getting this official clearance so that they can come to you and get their permit.
Right, absolutely. Thank you, Jenny. So the Los Angeles County Department of Public Works is issuing what's called final sign-off. And these are in the form of they're sending it as an email to different owners. So as soon as we see that email, if you could bring it with you or email it to us, that'll be great. Also, separately, we're getting a list from the county of when they sign off properties. So if we have it internally, that'll be fine too. So either way.
Very good. We have another question from Robin Armendorpour. Robin is asking, can you please speak more to the self-certification concept or idea? How does it work?
Absolutely. So architects will have the opportunity to ask to be self-certified. And as you saw in the mayor's order, there are conditions that we will be developing as a department. That's part of our to-do. We're going to ask them to be certified or take a test just to show that they have good knowledge of the code. And there's other requirements we're going to have. And once they do that, they'll be on our list as a certified architect. And then they would not have to go through the building and safety plan check process. So they would apply directly for a permit as if the plans were approved. They would get the clearances from the other departments like Bureau of Engineering, for example, or Fire Department. And once they get the clearances, a permit will be issued without any plan check approval from Building and Safety.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Another question from Beverly Sugunmoto. Beverly's asking, can our architect and builder go to Sawtelle One-Stop Rebuilding Center to expedite issues? Or does the resident need to go with them to get answers that are confusing?
Anyone can go to Sawtelle and get answers. So whether you're an architect, homeowner, or anyone can go there and will be provided with the same service.
Very good. All right. Felicia Wetman is also asking a question about building permit fees. Does that include condos as currently drafted? Osama, do you know the answer to that?
I believe it applied to single-family dwelling. That's what I remember. The order is 1 and 2 family dwellings. And I think we're trying to look into other than single-family dwelling, 1 and 2 family dwellings.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, I see a number of questions in the queue regarding passes and the status of PCH. So as folks know, PCH is continuing to be closed due to safety issues, closed for except for residents and contractors. So you do need a pass. Again, you can get those passes at the Disaster Recovery Center at UCLA Research Park, as well as 2 locations in Malibu. And you can access both PCH as well as other areas of the Palisades with those passes. Now, many folks are asking, will there still be passes after PCH is open? And at this point in time, we are seeking feedback from the community about the checkpoints. We want to hear from you. We've heard from some business owners and residents indicating we don't want checkpoints anymore. We want to be able to access our community without them. Some people have a different opinion on that and have indicated that they'd like the checkpoints to be kept in place. So we want to hear from you. You're welcome to go to Mayor Bass's website and click on constituent services at the top, pull down, put in a public comment of whether or not you would like to keep those checkpoints in place or whether or not you'd like them to be removed once PCH is fully reopened. We do want to hear from you. And obviously we know that that's not a black or white issue. There may be a change in time, or there may be other safety parameters that you'd like to keep into place, but we do want to hear from you. This is a community process.
Did Rika already talk to you too about?
Oh,
maybe
I think
trying to do something in the
Jonathan,
corner?
you may
Okay.
be off mute. If you could go on mute, Jonathan, thank you very much. But nonetheless, we want to hear, of course, from you, from the Palisades residents and business owners, nonprofit leaders, et cetera, so that we can make the best decision about what to do with the rest of the checkpoints outside of PCH. So we appreciate your interest as well as your questions, and this will be a decision made based on input from all of you, as was the decision to keep the checkpoints in place in the first place was a community-driven process from the beginning. All right. I'll go ahead and transition to our closing now. I do see a note from Laura Schneider. Laura is the Pacific Palisades Library Association president, and she's gathering input for the community rebuild. I'm going to go ahead and ask my colleague David to go ahead and put this link into the chat so that we can go ahead and get that information out to the community as well. Please feel free to fill out this link. It's a Google form from the Pacific Palisades Library Association, and we appreciate you sharing that, Laura. We'll go ahead and put up the slides again. As a reminder, we do have our frequently asked questions documents. Many of the questions that you all ask here on these webinars are reposted and answered here at our frequently asked questions page. Feel free to use this QR code as well as the link in your chat so that you can access these frequently asked questions at any point in time. Next slide. Again, we also have recordings of all of our webinars on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com/@mayorofla/videos and access the recordings of these webinars at any point if you'd like to go back to the information. And again, we do want to thank everybody. This is our 4th month of hosting these webinars. We are going to sunset the weekly webinars starting in the month of May. We won't have them every Tuesday at 5 p.m. However, we will be coming back together for these webinars as needed, as requested, and as we have critical updates to provide to all of you. As Mayor Bass indicated, the 24 hours is kind of a time frame that we need in order to get everything together, all the speakers and so forth, but we will commit to providing those updates to you all, especially on key topics like what's going to happen to the checkpoints and so forth. We know that those will be areas of focus and attention over the course of the next few weeks. And of course, over the next few months, we'll be right there with you. So we thank you all for joining and tuning in to these weekly webinars. As we move into a less regular time frame, we look forward to staying in touch in a variety of other ways. And we thank you for your participation and your commitment to your community overall. Thank you so much and have a very good night.